So today I want us to look at insects and pests that destroys cocoa, or more technically, that causes economic loss to cocoa farmers. So all the time we advise farmers to do prevention than control. Just as human beings, you shouldn't force yourself to fall sick before you take medicine. Taking drugs is a very difficult task. That's why we go on advising farmers that you should prevent pests from your farm. But once you go through all the prevention measures and it still doesn't work, you have to apply insecticide to the cocoa. So what are some of the prevention measures we advise farmers to undergo to prevent insect pest infestation? The first one is you have to weed the farm. You see, when the farm is bushy, it attracts grasshoppers and other forms of insects to your farm. So when should we clear the farm? Especially at the onset of the rain. And also another measure is by pruning your farm very well, because insects and pests, they love very cool environment, as human beings also love. So once you do proper pruning, it also reduces the rate of infestation in your farm. So now, what are some of the insects we have in Ghana? Precisely Volta region and other cocoa production areas, the major insects that disturbs farmers most is the merits, which is usually called in our local dialect, or I can call it akati. It's popularly known to farmers. And the other one is stink bugs, which is also popularly known as ate. But farmers, once you mention akati, yeah, they are very familiar with it, but they are different insects, just that the rate at which they cause damage is a bit similar. So when we observe this farm, we could see that some of the pods have been infested with the akati, but because he did some pruning, the rate of infestation is a bit low. Just that the few weeds in the farm keeps on attracting some. So when we check from this pod, we could see that there are some white spots on the pod. So once you observe these signs, you should know that infestation has started in the farm. And usually what they do is they suck the sweet water from the pod. So after sucking it, it will force the beans inside to germinate, because once the seed is washed, even after breaking of pods, when you wash that water from the pod, it undergoes germination. So the pod assumes that it should germinate. So it has started the infestation with these whitish things on it. So there are several in the farm, which will be posted for you to see. So when you see this, what should you do? Usually we advise farmers to start spraying. Gone were the days they used to spray August, September, October, then they exclude November, then spray in December. But now, you see, as human beings are becoming wise, insects are also becoming wise. So usually they also start their infestation from the onset of the rain, that's April. So you have to do the pruning very early. From there, then you start to also attack them. That's where they start their laying of eggs and multiplication. So once you stop them from laying eggs, it means you've reduced their population in your farm. So apart from that, you could see that termites are also chewing. Yes, termites are chewing the cocoa tree. So once you break this part, you could see termites coming out. This one I have just taken. Yes, so termite infestation. So you could see that cocoa tree goes under a lot of stress, but they still survive. So what should we do after we see these signs? That's the control. After we couldn't prevent them from coming, the control. There are several chemicals that have been approved by Cocoa Board for farmers. So we usually advise them, in case you want to go and buy your chemical, call your technical officer or consult an expert, because there are a lot of fake ones outside there, or unapproved, that's the right word, unapproved ones in the market, which causes a lot of harm. And each chemical has its own dosage. When we say dosage, it means the rate at which you should apply. Some we apply at 40 ml, some are applied at 60 ml. There is no general rate of application. Just as human beings, when you go to the hospital, they tell you maybe take 2 in a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. With cocoa too, we usually spray early in the morning or late in the evening. Why should we do it so? Because some of the major activities they undertake usually happens before the onset of the sun. They don't love the high temperatures, so you have to spray them early in the morning, because most of the chemicals are contact plus systemic. When we say a contact chemical, it means once it touches the insect, it will cause harm to the insect, either death or weakness to the insect. So that's the contact ones. But the systemic ones, when it touches the cocoa leaves or any part and the insect comes to feed on, maybe when you spray this leaf or this area with the systemic, once they come and feed on that area, it means they are going to die or they are going to reduce in their population. So one would say, I've sprayed my farm, I've done everything, but still the insects are in the farm. Another major challenge we have on the field is we advise farmers to do group spraying. We call some farms clustered farms, meaning farms that are closer to each other. So assuming farmer A sprays his farm, once you are about to spray, insects start moving to where they will find safety. So they will move to farmer B's farm. After you spray and the chemical starts to go down, they also move back to your farm. So with the group farming, group spraying, farmer A will spray, B will spray at the same time, or from farmer A's farm they will move to farmer B, so you spray farmer B. So by then the insect will not get anywhere to hide again. So that's one reason farmers spray and insects come back to the farm. And also someone will tell you, they said the chemical should be sprayed at 40 ml. What if I don't have time and maybe we are in August, but I'll not have time to spray in September, so let me do it 80 ml. After doing the 80 ml, meaning next month I'll not have time to spray. It's the same way we call something in medicine and drug abuse. You are abusing the cocoa tree. The rate it can take, you've given it more than, so it will cause future harm to the cocoa tree. And also when you spray in when you spray in August, you fail to spray in September, it means a doctor has prescribed the chemical for you. Take 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, but you decided to take just in the morning. Though your disease can be cured, but it will take a longer period of time, just like the insect spraying, meaning you are inviting them back to the farm. Yes, so spraying should be done consistently. August you do, September you do, October you do, skip November, do December. Under favorable weather conditions, that's when the rainfall, it's a bit manageable for you in the farm. So basically, when we talk about insect pest of cocoa, the major prevention measures is clearing your farm very neat. All the time your farm should be cleared. And number 2, proper pruning should be done in the farm. And 3, you shouldn't wait for the control. You shouldn't wait and see signs before you control them. Some want to see signs, or let me observe. You first come to the farm, observe your pots, observe the leaves, observe the trunk of the tree. Some of the cocoa trees, the insects feed on the trunk of the tree and they cause harm to the cushion where the flowers can develop. So the cocoa tree will be there and there will be no flowers, which later develops into pots. So our advice to farmers is that you shouldn't wait and see signs. And also do your pruning very early. Another main importance of doing your pruning is, assuming this is a cocoa tree and it has about 20 branches, the amount of chemical you spend on this cocoa can't be compared to this one. But at the end of the day, the one with less branches and less leaves can even bear more than because cocoa is not a vegetative crop. It's the pulse we harvest, not the. So I'll pause here if there's any question.
All right, so that's fine. And I think you've been able to explain most of the questions that are on the minds of our viewers out there. And basically, I also know that what you've just explained also deals with issues of black pots. And especially where we are, the farming which we are now is very closer to a river bank. And it has a lot of shades here. And what advice will you give to people of those that have farms around river bodies? The advice you can give and things they can do to prevent some of this coldness from their entering their farm.
So technically, and when we talk about these EPA regulations, like river banks shouldn't be sprayed with chemicals. Yes, because it's a source of drinking water for communities. Yes, but river bodies, the major thing we should do is the control. Though we can do there's the prevention, though we can do control around river bodies, especially the ones that have the running waters, the streams. But if you have a stagnant well, you shouldn't, which you drink from, then that one is a no-go area. You shouldn't apply any weedicide, insecticide there at all. Yes, this brings me back to the use of weedicide in cocoa, which we will get there. So at the river banks, once there is some shade there, you shouldn't go and plant other trees there again. Yes, and the trees too, we have economic ones, which farmers can later use for their work. But some serves as alternative hosts. When we see someone is an alternative host, assuming I'm having a stranger and I cannot host, which means I should refer my stranger to someone who will serve as an alternative. So we have silk tree and one popularly known as Onyina Ehuti in Ewe language. They are all alternatives ones. So if you are spraying your cocoa, they can also host most of the viruses or diseases in cocoa. Cola is also another alternative host for cocoa pests and diseases. So we advise farmers not to plant those trees in their farm, because if you plant them, you are multiplying the rate of infestation in your farm. So river bodies, one, you shouldn't plant close to the river body, because erosion and things can even carry all those cocoa away. But once you plant there, it means you should control shade in those areas. And also, when you control too much shade, the river body will dry up. So this one is it's a very big conflict we have with other institutions who claim we are destroying water bodies. Yes, but they also take chocolate more than everybody. Yes.
All right. So you've just heard it all. Theo has been able to explain things to you, and I think he has touched on most of the key questions that we were actually baffling your minds out there. And the insects tree here is made mention of the names of the insects. And those of you that are not in Africa or are not in Ghana, I know you'd actually be thinking, I don't know how you guys go about getting your chemicals. I don't know if you have any fair idea about that, especially those in Nigeria, those in maybe Indonesia and other continents that also grow cocoa. I don't know if they also follow our usual step of getting chemicals from the extension offices.
Okay, so as I said earlier, even in Ghana, we have farmers who will tell you, I want to buy my chemicals by myself, I can afford. With that one, we have a long or tall list of chemicals which have been approved to be used by farmers. And one thing is, we don't use the same chemical for maybe continuous years. So when you use chemical A for this year, farmers insects adapt to it.
Oh.
So you have to change the insecticide you use. That's why when you use insecticide A in your farm for this year, we advise that next year you change it so that insects don't adapt to it. Those you would be spraying every day and it will not be working in your farm because the insects have adapted to it already. It's like taking someone to prison for the first time. For the first 1 week, I'm not sure the person will be comfortable. But with the subsequent years, the food they feed them, he will be okay. Even if it's poison, he will take and still grow better. So insects also adapt to environmental changes.
So I think for now, that is all you've explained today has been able to deal with all the questions that are baffling our mind. So if you are watching and you still feel like you would have questions to ask, he's always there. And I would actually be sharing his number on the screen. And if you'd want any information concerning that too, he would be the best person to help you. So you just pick the number, with WhatsApp, he's always online 247. So you just WhatsApp him and you'll be able to give you all the guide. Aren't you ready for them?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for them.
If you'd want any tuition or any education concerning cocoa farming, he is there. You just pick the number on the screen you see and then chat him via WhatsApp. Those are in the diaspora, those are in Indonesia, Nigeria, whichever country that you are that grows cocoa, you can actually pick the number and just contact him, WhatsApp him, and you'll be able to, give you more tuitions. But then if you'd want to give him too much of questions to answer for you, remember you'd actually have to start paying him so that he will help you with that, because he's an expert and that's what he's doing all the time. He's always on the field, and somebody who is always on the field has more knowledge to share with you all out there. So if you want any guidance from you or any education, pick the number and talk to him. Any other word for the viewers out there before we take leave of you?
Okay, so we have withdrawal periods. Sometimes you shouldn't spray insecticides on pods that are already ripe. So every chemical, they write the withdrawal period. Or yes, withdrawal period means from the states, maybe I spray today, or re-entry. Let's talk about re-entry first. Re-entry means after spraying today, when can I come to the farm and work again? Because it's an insecticide you sprayed. So you don't spray today morning, come in the evening to work in the farm. All the chemicals, they have some are 24 hours, some are 48 hours. And they have also periods by which you can harvest after spraying. So all chemicals, they are boldly written on them. So that's why you should consult an expert before you apply an insecticide or any form of chemical in your farm, because they have health risk as well. The way we are punishing the insects, we punish ourselves as well. And you have to use protective clothes before you spray the farm. Thank you very much.